6 o'clock. Go,
All
baby.
right, let's go.
Chop, chop.
All right, call to order. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
All right, Kent,
Here.
Greg,
Here.
April,
Here.
Eric,
Here.
and Patty's here.
Awesome. Student Board Member Report, Ms. Miller.
So last Saturday, we had our winter semi-formal dance for the high school. The math team is going to state, and both our knowledgeable teams qualified for regionals this year. In March, we are holding a blood drive for students and staff, and it will not be open to the public due to health and safety reasons. Looking ahead, Student Council is planning to do a food drive combined with the middle school, and we are also planning a fun March Madness competition in the high school for students and staff, and that is all I have.
All right,
Thanks, Caitlin.
thank you.
Good job.
Agenda adjustments approval. We don't have anything, correct? Awesome. All right. Moving on to announcements. Dale.
Thank you. The Minnesota School Boards Association has set February 21 through the 25th as Minnesota's School Board Recognition Week to build awareness and understanding of the vital function elected school board members play in our communities and society. La Crescent Hoka Public Schools is joining school districts throughout the state in celebrating School Board Recognition Week to honor local board members for their commitment to the La Crescent Hoka school community and its students. La Crescent Hoka Public Schools has been fortunate to have had committed and caring community citizens serve as school board members in the past and present. Thank you to all former and current school board members for your high level of care and service to our students, employees, and communities. We have some certificates, and we could take a photo either now of the group, or we could do it at the end of the meeting after we adjourn. What would your?
I will defer to my esteemed colleagues. What would you prefer?
Can we opt out of the photo? No. At the end. How about at the end?
That way you
Yeah.
don't want to hold up
At the end.
everybody else.
Yeah.
After, well, I'm just gonna take a quick moment and give you a certificate, and then afterwards you can bring it with you for the
Oh,
photo.
there we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Thank you.
Is there a bottle of wine with it?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Vodka.
drop
No.
it. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does it work? Ooh, that's better. Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, Dale. Okay. Agenda number 7, board member reports. Patty, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. April?
Nothing, thank you.
I have
Greg?
nothing to report.
Kent?
One thing I forgot to report on last month as far as safety issues, the busing issue that we had down by Brownsville
Oh, yeah.
area, I think was resolved to the satisfaction of both the people, the families involved, and just a special thanks to them for their persistence and for bringing it forward, and also to Ready Bus, who really went way out of their way to try to help solve this problem. So hats off to Ready Bus and those families.
Excellent.
So we had like 4 meetings. I was only able to attend 2 of them, and I think Wade was at 2 and Jeff was at 2, so we kind of split it up between us.
Okay. Well, that is good to hear. All right, I do not have anything myself, so we'll move on to community input. All right, we will start with Katie.
Ready? Do you want a microphone? So all I really want to ask is that we,
Do you want a microphone? Because it doesn't pick you up on the recording if you don't have a microphone. It's up to you. Up to you.
okay,
Okay.
If I don't wreck the
Here's your Bette Midler moment.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, yep, we're good. So I just want to ask the board that, last month when I attended the COVID committee to observe that, Kent had mentioned ending the masking mandate requirement on March 1st. And when you were pushed, you said a month would be okay. And we're at a month, and I know that Monday's been thrown around and March 1st has been thrown around, but I see no reason to even push it out any further than immediately. I think that the kids would all benefit from it ending tonight and be able to go to school tomorrow. And I know that you guys want to give parents and students time to adjust. That letter went out a while ago letting them know that this is coming. When you, in the August meeting, when universal masking was decided, the parents that want mask choice weren't given that much time. And I feel like you've given parents on the opposing view more time than we were given, and I just don't see any benefit to having to make us wait even longer. That's really it. I really want there to be mask choice. I want it done immediately, and I want there to be no future metrics imposed again. I don't think that allowing there to be a door left open for universal masking to come back in any capacity is a good thing. I think that the public has learned in the past 2 years the mitigation strategies that they need to do. They can take personal responsibility and accountability for themselves, but I don't think that that's your role in it to do anything universally anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, just to remind everyone, everyone gets 2 minutes, and it's not a back and forth. We're listening, and it's not that we're not listening to you. It's just, it's a business meeting, and so we're just looking for input, and it's not going to be a give and take back and forth. All right? Up next is John Radecki.
Good evening. I think I probably speak loud enough without this. Sure. And if anybody knows me, I get really nervous and speak really fast. But I'd like to say to a couple people here particularly, that there's people in this room that have lost people due to COVID-19, close to their families. And for people that are against masking, myself included, I think it's important to note that the people that are on this board and on our school district are acting in what they think is the best interest. And I don't feel there's agendas, and I don't think that if anybody here does, that I would agree with that. I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes. I want to say that this is from the Pledge of Allegiance. This is a republic, and it's important for people in the city to know what a republic is, and a lot of times people don't. We elect people to make decisions on our behalf, and it's not a pure democracy. It's a democratic republic, and that's what these people do. I, again, want to say I want the metric to end. I want the masking to end. We've had vaccines for a long enough period of time. Repeating some things that I've heard elsewhere, but it's time for this to be done. If you're going to vaccinate yourself or your kids, you have. The Houston County's numbers and the 4 areas that we have being severe and high and moderate and low are being skewed. And I spoke to Audrey the last couple of weeks with the Minnesota Health Department, and the real numbers that are being reported is 108 cases over the last 7 days. Of that, 61 of them were numbers that creeped in since January. They were January's numbers that are creeping in. You're seeing spikes on their numbers, and they're getting a 40-day, sorry, is that me?
You can have a little more time.
They're getting a 40-day and a 20-day, and they're shooting the numbers up. Her real number that she's kept track right now is that we've had, time for glasses. If you put it per 100,000, at 15.54, so we're moderate for the county. There's 217 people that are still in the Facebook group against masking, Parents for Choice of Masking, those people tend to never get talked about. And we always talk about, I have a family that is really worried about not having masks. A cloth mask doesn't help their student. An N95 mask on their student helps their student. And I have to say, I think that's it.
Very good. Thank you, John. Up next, Ashley C. Ashley L, sorry.
Mine will be 2 minutes. I just want to say I hope we do unmasking. I have a second grader at the elementary school and she hates wearing them. Please stop the masking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Last but not least, Anthony Morella.
I will do that, sure. All right, good evening, school board members, staff, and fellow district citizens. I'd like to respectfully speak shortly on the topic of mask mandate in our school district. I have 3 children in our district. My oldest is a 9th grader that deals with hearing loss that she has had since birth. Many of her teachers forget and don't realize that she has hearing issues. She does have hearing aids that connect to an amplifying system that is provided by the school district. But if she forgets her hearing aids, like obviously we know many of our teenagers forget things quite often. She has an extremely difficult time with communication due to not being able to read the teacher's lips with a mask on. Staff members have been directed to adjust their teaching methods due to the mask mandate in accordance with her doctor's orders and a district-approved IEP. This rarely happens. This understandably is frustrating for both our teachers, her, and us as parents trying to make her education as effective as possible. My youngest is a kindergartner. We have been dealing with speech issues since he was a student in one of our local preschools. He has been making improvements due to the fact that we possibly have the best elementary school staff in the tri-state area. But I can't help but feel that him and his classmates would be much better served by not requiring staff and students to wear masks. Being able to watch an adult manipulate their mouth is one of the greatest ways to learn and speak properly. I am also a youth wrestling coach. We have been wrestling now without masks for some time in the wrestling room. To say that we are within social distancing standards would be an understatement. Obviously, we're very close the entire time and we're unmasked. To date, I don't have any knowledge of a case that was transmitted in our wrestling room. This is a great thing, but also goes to show that if parents are responsible and keep their children home when they are sick, and if we as a district use common sense cleaning practices, we can work through this. I respectfully ask the school board to either go to masks recommended or no masks at all. We as a district have had plenty of time to vaccinate if we would wish to do so. I also ask that we consider stopping in full the COVID-19 metrics. If we can't, as a district, trust members to make common sense decisions, we are in bigger trouble than what COVID-19 has to offer. I thank you guys for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any last minute? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Dale.
I think,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just make a few comments. Again, a reminder to board members that if a board member wants to discuss or take action on a specific agenda item, the board member is to make the request for the board chair to remove the item from the agenda. However, I would just like to highlight 2 items. First, for staff retirement, we celebrate and thank Janet Redmond, administrative assistant, for her 16 years of service to the school district. Her retirement will be effective at the end of the school year, and so congratulations to her. Also, donations, I think Brittany can put those up, just highlighting and thanking those who have remembered the school district in their giving. The Glendenning Family Foundation, $1,000 to printer supplies and maintenance, robotics, and then we have the Crescent Community Foundation for $1,152 to robotics, and the La Crosse Community Foundation, $2,000 for the band trip scholarship.
So that's not a typo. La Crosse Community Foundation.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow,
That's impressive.
That's awesome.
okay.
So if there are no requests to remove an item from the consent agenda, a motion could be made to approve.
Now I move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for discussion. I just want to point out consent agenda item 9D as in David, Araya Hayes being employed as activities director. Just want to recognize that and yes. All right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And Olivia Gonzalez joined too. All right. Motion carries. Very good. Action item 10A, annual review policies, second reading with changes, harassment and violence.
And I could just make a
Yep, go ahead,
quick
Dale.
comment
Please
that the board reviewed this for a first reading back in January, and the second reading, there was a comment from that meeting about making a change. I think it's on page 6, about naming the position rather than a specific employee. So I think that's the only change from the first reading that was made. So when ready, unless there's discussion, we'll look for a motion to approve the second reading of Board Policy 413 as presented.
So moved.
So moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second. First and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to action item 10B as in Brian. Dale, take it away.
Yeah, the most significant change when compared to this year on the calendar is that there's been interest and recommendation to move graduation to a Friday evening. And so, and I know a couple people, and I'm looking at Mr. Smith too, that maybe can respond to some questions. I did not highlight the fact that there is not a week-long spring break, but it's my understanding that there's kind of a rotation but that may not be
Yeah.
every
It's
year.
every other year is
So-
kind of what they've shot for.
So,
They can-
so anyway, that's just a comment, and, you know, happy to try to respond to questions, and I might lean on Mr. Smith there.
Is the
Friday evening.
Is Friday evening to give us more leeway if there's bad weather, so we can do it Saturday, and if it's not good on Saturday, we can do it Sunday,
It
or?
certainly gives us that opportunity. I think moving to the outdoor ceremony like we did,
Yeah,
you know, we have had feedback over the last several years about, you know, is there any reason we have to have it on a Sunday? And, you know, there really wasn't, other than the fact that it was a lot easier to get the arena, you know, so that was one thing. Plus, it did give us time to set up the arena. But now that we're outside, we do have more flexibility. And one of the things that we have continued to hear over the years is that, you know, that Sunday does occupy a pretty prime graduation party day too, you know, so we asked around, and, you know, we found that there are a number of districts that do use the Friday night as a graduation ceremony, and that was something that, you know, in talking with our senior class advisors, and they really thought that was something that they would like to move forward with and try. So generally, the idea would be, it would be probably somewhere between 6 and 7 in terms of the ceremony, and it would be on the football field as well, and just like we've done in the past. It would be the culmination of that week of events that the seniors already have too,
and that would be for next year.
for next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that pops in my mind is Well, we've always done it on Sunday.
Yeah.
But change is okay. It's a little Spring Grove joke there. We don't like change. But, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I have a question. Tell me we don't have school on Good Friday next year?
This calendar does have Good Friday off.
Good. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, any further discussion or questions for anyone on?
Never thought about it on Friday.
People will have to take work off, likely.
That's the only thing I was thinking too, it's just the prep for it, but.
But if, I mean, you're giving them enough notice to hopefully get a day off a year and a half from now, so. I'll put in my request.
Any further discussion? Further discussion? All right, hearing none, entertain a motion. Or no, we already have did we have a first and a second? Okay,
We did.
let's have a first.
Motion to approve
Great.
the calendar for
Oh.
2022, 2023 with a Friday night graduation.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Greg seconds. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Great. Okay. Action item 10C is in Charles, sub rates. Dale.
Yeah, at the July 2021 school board meeting, the school board increased the teacher sub rate to $125 a day that you can see up on the screen. And we're recommending right now that support staff substitute rates be increased to $12 an hour across the board. There's been some research as far as comparisons to neighboring school districts, and this would put us more in line with those rates. And so we can do our best to respond to questions perhaps. Otherwise, eventually looking at a potential motion to approve the increased support staff sub rates as presented.
And make that motion.
I'll second. Discussion, any discussion?
That fits within our budget yet? I mean, go ahead.
I think it's more a case of we can't find people.
Yes,
it's,
kind of what I was wondering, but I just wanted
yeah.
to make sure our budget's still within.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Yes.
Yeah, I personally would like to see them all go up, but, the teachers and every support staff, I think they certainly deserve every nickel they get.
Right.
But we've already looked at what the surrounding districts and everybody is doing, so.
Yeah, we just raised the teacher one, so 125 is the benchmarked rate.
And Steve, how has that gone over? Are we okay getting staff with that, or are we still struggling?
Well, I'll tell you that the biggest thing that has helped this semester is we had a person that was filling in on a maternity leave from the beginning of the holiday break, and that teacher returned in the very first part of February, and this person stayed on to fill the position that we had approved earlier in the year, the full-time sub.
Oh, good.
And that has been fantastic because we have literally relied on him every single day.
Yeah.
And it has made it quite a bit easier. So I do think this rate has helped. We don't seem to be seeing as many teachers at the last minute drop us to take a district that pays a little bit more at 7:15 in the morning, which is pretty difficult to, fill sub positions then. So, but that individual has helped a great deal.
Does our full-time sub help cover some of the non-teaching roles if we need fill-ins?
If we have a situation where there's an hour where there isn't a need,
Yeah,
we can float that person.
okay. Or he'll like
anywhere.
pick up a broom and
Yep.
sweep something if needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Were we able to get a full-time in the elementary building?
Well, this person is the district.
Oh, so
in the
they'll go
district
between.
position.
Okay.
And one of the challenges that we've run into there is the timing of, when the office opens in the morning,
Mhm.
from 7 to 7:30, you're scrambling to figure out if everything is filled. Same is happening at the elementary.
Yeah.
This person is, lands here to start his day.
Okay.
So, there have been not very many opportunities to share across buildings, and the schedules obviously don't align. So that's one thing that we've been talking about as an admin group too, is, what's a better way to address that. So Jeff and I have tried to look at, if possible, down the road, is there a day where there's a really heavy need that we can just shift that person to the elementary then for that entire day? And so we're doing our best to try to work ahead on that.
Okay. Amy, does our sub rate, does that fall in line with, what is your other district that you work at, Zimbrota?
I'm at Mabel Canton and Triton.
Or, okay, yeah, Triton
Yep.
and Mabel County.
Yeah, it's right in that range.
It
so,
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good, it's competitive.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion on that? All right, hearing none, we've got a first and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, action item 10D is in David, COVID-19 committee review. Kent, why don't you take it away?
Well, as far as the committee review, we met probably for the final time last week, or the week before, it's all a blur. And we discussed the various metrics that would be used to, and also whether or not we're going to,
Just a little closer.
sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Recommend going to a mask recommended. And I think the gist of it is most everyone was in agreement that we go to mask recommended at a provisional date. And also there's some discussion about the metrics that would be used. So with that being said, I would like to make a motion that as of Monday, February 21st, that we suspend the indoor mandatory mask policy for our school district 300 and move to masking recommended, with the provision that the district reserve the option of going back to mandatory masking should the need arise in the future, and with that need being determined by the board, period.
I second that.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion?
So, I agree with going to recommended. I'd see no reason to wait until Monday, so I would prefer it be effective immediately. We sent the notice to parents out 2 weeks ago, so they've had a chance to make, see what other options are available or look at online learning if that's what's necessary for their family. I did include the Swiss cheese model in here, just because I think we're putting so much emphasis on masks, right? But there's many things that help protect our students. And in August, we didn't have some of these things, right? Vaccines weren't available to all school-age children. They are now. We didn't have rapid testing where they can go to the nurse and find out if they're positive, and we can do that now. We can do that today. We can do that now. We don't need to wait until Monday. So, we have other safeguards in place. So my preference, while agreeing with moving to mask recommended, is that we do it immediately and not wait.
Do you
So
want to make a friendly amendment then?
I think we have to vote.
I have to rescind my motion.
Well, we've got a motion.
No, you can take a friendly, you can do a friendly amendment
Then you vote on the
to a
amendment.
motion.
Was there a
In
second?
other words, she can make.
There
there's
hasn't been a second yet.
She can make a friendly amendment to the
Oh,
motion.
she did second, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she can make a friendly amendment to the motion,
Okay,
right? And then if we accept that friendly amendment,
okay.
if you want, we can deny that motion and start a new one. I don't care, but you can use that friendly amendment process too. It's up to you.
Well, I'm a friendly guy. Friendly amendment sounds nice.
Friendly amendments are nice.
Okay, so then we vote on the amendment right now,
Yes.
if we want to add that.
So if she's.
So do you
are
want me to
making
make
a
the friendly amendment?
Make the friendly amendment.
Only if you maintain eye
Hold on,
contact.
let me put on my friendly face. Okay.
Ugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Yeah,
So I'll make the amendment I'll make a motion that we amend it to effective immediately.
I second that.
you second that friendly,
The second to the second.
got it, okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So for the, we're gonna talk.
No?
Can we just stay on this motion here before we talk about metrics or anything else? So
His
let's just-
metrics are part of the,
That's, yeah, I was
Motion,
gonna say
though.
his
Okay.
metric is part of it.
I just want to clarify that the metrics would be removed from the district site.
Okay, and Kent, were you getting to that?
Yeah,
In your motion? Okay.
Is this discussion right now? Just want to be
I
clear.
don't know.
I believe it is discussion.
It's discussion.
Yeah, so I don't think we need to hold ourselves to any particular metrics. I think we're all intelligent enough to, should the need arise in the future, to be able to bring it back if we find it necessary. I think probably the biggest thing in metrics that wasn't really measurable, I don't think people were, or the whole medical profession was aware of, what a difference in virulence between the Delta variant and the Omicron. And I mean, Delta was lethal. This stuff is not, and it's better that if it just moved through our whole population and be over and done with, so the thing doesn't have any more chance to mutate.
Gotcha.
Is one line of thinking. And that's something that is really hard to measure. You can't go by hospital rates, you can't go by, well, death rates aren't even actually accurate, because now we're talking, since we have a vaccine, that people that are vaccinated aren't going to the hospital and aren't dying.
Right.
You know, so we also have medications now to treat this should the need arise. So we have a whole bunch of really good scientifically based resources that we can fight this thing. And I would hope that in the future, according to Bill Gates, he's probably the leading virologist in the world, one of them, that we're going to see another thing like this in the next 10 years.
Okay. Well, let me
And-
stop you right there. So taking metrics out?
Yep.
All right, so let's get back on board. Let's vote on it. A new motion needs to be made.
Okay, so I make a motion that is effective immediately, that we suspend the indoor mandatory masking policy for our school district 300 and moving to masking recommended, with the provision that the district reserve the option of going back to mandatory masking should the need arise in the future at the discretion of the board. Period.
And
And removing the metrics.
thank you. And removing the metrics. Okay. All right, any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Okay.
Mr. Morgan, could I just ask,
I'm sorry, what? Greg, or
Patty.
Patty did.
Yes, Dale?
I'd be happy to stay, we can do our best and get a communication out yet tonight
That'd be great.
to
Yep.
families, so.
Right away in the morning.
We may need, after the meeting, just
I can help.
reach
No
out.
problem.
And
Yep.
we can try to get
I can
something
help.
together.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I have no date after the meeting, Dale, so I can hang with you.
Dance card is open.
Yeah.
Okay. Action item 9E is in Edward, change in position, Lauren Peterson, going from paraprofessional to preschool paraprofessional.
No,
Nope, sorry.
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
Okay. Elementary school open house, discussion. Is Jeff Kopp not coming? Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
no problem, okay. And Beth's not here? So those would be the two largest voices for this.
yeah.
So that's why they're there.
That's at hockey.
Okay. Well, fair to say everyone's in favor of an elementary school open house?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, great.
Maybe
Well, let's
like-
table this, and I see no reason of putting a date together if no one can speak to it.
Well,
Is everyone okay with
and-
that? Or-
Okay.
Or is there a recommended date, or?
I can just speak a little bit to, I think there's been interest even talking with HSR and we are just about even, probably no sooner than towards the end of March. I think we did some unofficial, just kind of inquiry about that. I think that after doing the most recent walkthrough punch list last week, there's still some cleanup to do yet. And I can't sit here tonight and promise that that's going to be done by the end of March. And so I think it might be a good idea to table when we have some more information and help identify. I just don't think it could happen by the end of March, as I sit here tonight. And there might be some positives waiting a little bit later into the spring. I know the calendar gets a little bit busier, and I think that's one reason looking later March, sometimes it's a little bit of a gap for families and the public in activities and so on. But we will keep working on this and bring it back, and
Okay.
that's all right.
Just a question. Do the rest of you feel like we need to be involved in this, or can we just entrust this to administration to come up with a suitable date and plans?
I'm fine with
I am
Yeah.
no party planner.
I'm happy to help, but
Yeah.
Sure.
I think you guys can figure it out and.
Though there's your marching orders.
And we'll,
Okay.
part of our plan, we'll work with the board certainly on trying to find a date that works for most everybody when we can kind of narrow it in, when we think it will work for the building and be ready.
Can I ask a question about the gym, though, at the elementary school? Is that available to be used yet for, like, Boys and Girls Club basketball? Because you've been going
I
to
don't-
Hoka,
I-
and you've been going to Mathey Center, and
Yeah,
it's not
I will have to
convenient.
follow up. I don't know where we're at with outside. I mean, we're trying to use it for instruction during the day and so on. I
Right.
just don't know where we're at
They were
about
waiting for
outside.
the divider, the last I'd heard, and that was,
Yeah, the accordion door is in, yeah.
This really is my spot
So-
today, but I didn't realize it. So the door is there, and I know from conversation with Beth today, I really am being this, I'm not just coming out as a.
We trust you.
yeah. Take your mask off and prove it.
Yourself out.
Let's
What's
see it.
that?
No, I'm just kidding.
That, there have been some community people who have contacted her to try to book the gymnasiums,
Yeah.
and she's entertaining those conversations in the same way always, but also there are rates that are in place based on, is it from inside the district, outside the district, within the community, from a different community, those kinds of things. But people who are interested have been starting to call.
Okay. So it's open for business. They just need to go through Beth to get.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
priced accordingly.
Yep. Thank you.
It's a brand new gym, it's beautiful.
And the old new gym is available too, right? That's got a new floor and,
Yeah.
Yes,
Company, kids company.
oh, kids company uses that, but not
Yes.
on weekends.
right, yes.
Until 6.
Awesome, okay. All right. Agenda item 11, pupil enrollment.
We have it up on the screen, and I think down at the bottom, what you'll see, we've been pretty stable, probably most notably since November. But
Fantastic. Any questions for administration on that? No? Okay. 11B, 22-23 high school course description book, commentary by Steve Smith.
Yeah, just a few things that are new this year that I want to bring to your attention. If you go to page 10, I just want to elaborate on our work-based learning. This is a course that we started this year. We're happy to see that it is continuing to grow. And we have actually 3 teachers on staff now, or we will have a 3rd teacher this spring that will have the licensure for that. So we're really fortunate that way. There's many districts that don't have a single one. We did, as a pioneer this year, a pilot where we partnered with the Houston School District, and their students joined us virtually for that course, and they did so in the 2nd semester as well. We're going to continue that partnership, and they were able to work with us then to provide seats for us at no cost at MNBA. So that's something that we were really happy to have, and we did take advantage of that. So that, like I said, has gone well. And our career navigator, I don't know that you guys have met Mary Ann Smith from Southeast Service. She works with, I think, 5 different districts. But she's been very instrumental in supporting this and getting it off the ground. So we look forward to it continuing to grow. The other changes, if we go to, and I've mentioned this before in my board reports, but if you go to industrial technology on page 16, you can see the new pathways. Mr. Moulton went through these at a meet and greet night on the 27th of January for families to learn a little bit more about what we wanted to do. And so one of the things that we're really excited about is starting last spring, there were members from industry in the area that came in and spoke with Mark about the skills that they see that students need coming out of high school and going into the various industries. And so we retooled our course names to more align with the concepts, that we are trying to teach that will give students the skills coming out of school to actually go right into a trade program. And that also meant that we had to take some of the things that we taught in certain courses and move them around a little bit. And so this is the first year that, we're going to be going down that pathway. But we're very excited about it. I think I mentioned I didn't mention last month because I wasn't here, but Jonathan Kotz, we have been able to bring him on staff. So we have 2 people now that are licensed in this area and can teach those courses. So I think, we have a lot of variety there. But it's going to be a learning process because, kids are used to, if they want to take beginning woods, it's pretty easy to find. And now, as you look on the pathway, that falls under carpentry and construction. And then the courses prior to that are the ones that really have the skills that they need in every single one of those courses. And that's one thing we didn't have. So now students, can take that, maybe what used to be called like introductory to technology, and that course will give them the skills that they will need to be successful all the way through. The one thing we're really excited about, and it's going to take us a few years to get there, is at the far right, the CTE seminar. But that was one thing that the industry leaders also talked with us about, that after students can complete that coursework, they can write a proposal for either themselves as an individual or with a group of students to do a capstone project using all of the skills that they've learned in the other courses. And then that would have to be approved by an instructor, and then they would have the semester to complete that project, and then they would present that as part of that course. So very, very excited to see that, but lots of new things there. One new course that we have not offered before, and Mr. Kotz has a skill set in that area. So we are going to offer a drone operation and licensing class, and he is a fully licensed drone operator, and so the hope is that students would learn about that operation and then also be able to build a drone on nothing high powered, but something that, they would at least learn the skill to be able to do. So we'll see how that one goes.
These are incredibly impressive.
Oh,
I
yes.
was at that initial employer meeting, and
Yeah.
to hear them talk
Yep.
about it and to see where it's
Yep.
gone. One question I had is just to be sure if students qualify for the free and reduced lunch.
Yep.
Or if the $20 or these extra fees are a
Waived.
problem,
Yeah,
we have a mechanism.
we do, yeah.
Okay, I just
So-
wanted to be sure that doesn't
Right,
stop.
yeah,
somebody
that's
with
still in
those
place. And, and we haven't gotten to that level yet, but we've even talked about when we get to that CTE seminar level, the materials probably won't exist in our budget, for some of these projects.
And the employers will help.
And that's what we thought, that we would be able to work and partner with some people in the community to sponsor some of these projects too. So we're hopeful, but
Wonderful.
this is a big step, so we're really excited about that.
on that drone class, do you have to be enrolled, or?
Is there an age requirement?
I really feel like someone should audit this class, just to,
To make sure.
yeah.
I guess anything is open to discussion, isn't
Okay.
it? So,
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
How many kids, I mean,
we'll know in another week, how many have signed up, but, John is already, he's actually been able to secure some funding for, so, like I said, some of those entry-level drones that are, easy to work with and easy to build and maintain. But he also owns a very, high-powered one that, he had for the meet and greet night too, and he was hoping to break that out, but it's nothing you're gonna fly indoors, I can tell you that, so.
awesome.
At least, maybe at the elementary
Sounds
gym, but
cool.
not here.
Wow, how nice it would have been to be able to have this 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
right?
And, I hope one thing from this pandemic that America has learned is that we need to make stuff in this country
Yeah.
and not just be importing all this crap
Right.
from overseas. But it takes money and education to train people to be on the cutting edge of technology. And so that's wonderful to have this facility and also the instructors
And the
to do it.
instructors, because you guys know how long we've.
Oh,
been-
jeepers,
Yeah,
man.
That's been a real uphill battle. So
Yep.
We're just thrilled.
Very thankful.
And another one that ties into that, you'll notice in the far left, we have 2 math classes that are showing up under the industrial technology side. The technical geometry and then the the technical advanced algebra. So I do want to explain those a little bit. What we learned as we started to explore this curriculum is that there are a number of other programs around the state that identified the key standards in geometry and in advanced algebra and the skills that also went along with these classes. And so they were able to offer math credit if students took those courses. So those courses are kind of a blend, and there are certain limitations to them. They will meet high school graduation standards, but those classes in and of themselves would not, meet necessarily admissions for a 4-year program. So those math classes are going to be for students that have decided that, they're looking at a trade program or a 2-year program, right out of high school. And we have not offered these before, but I can say that, advanced algebra has been a challenge for us, because when the state passed that standard that everyone would take that 3rd year, there are some students that, when they take that math class, that is by far and away the highest level of math that they would ever take, and in many cases may not actually need, So we're hopeful that we can run a section of those at least this year, so we can support that. And we're fortunate that one of our instructors in this end is also licensed in math, so you just don't have that combination very often. Let's see, the next, I think those were the 2 biggest ones, and I did want to highlight that science also came forward with a new course this year, and these are electives, and they are, looking for the page number on that.
You got anything with tanks?
Nothing with tanks, no. Page 43. We're offering energy in your backyard, and then also solar energy. And those are our 2 courses that Ms. Wojo has been able to find out, from other districts, and then also from some other colleagues, what they have offered. And so we're going to put these out for the first time too. And, this is also very exciting because we have not had a lot of electives in the science area. So kids that really enjoy science or like science, once they meet the requirements, there haven't been a lot of other options for them to take, so. And those are the only things that are different.
So is regarding the industrial tech
Yep.
Program. How does that fold pretty uniquely into like surrounding, like say, Western Technical College? I'm sure they probably looked at that as far as preparing.
Yeah, I think, well, one step
Or-
that we really need to go down and explore, like, Ms. Traxler has done some articulation.
Okay.
Where she's aligned she's looked at the standards in her courses and aligned those with some of those that would, qualify as students enrolled at Western.
Okay.
And if they had a certain grade that they met in terms of the course here, then that would, qualify there at that level. So, we haven't, we had some of those agreements in place. Now with these new courses, I think there's gonna be more options, but we have to have some conversations around that. We have to, in the courses here, our standards have to meet, I think, 80% of what their courses teach. And then that has to be looked at, or reviewed. And then students have to be successful at an 80% level here in order to demonstrate that they would, earn that credit. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Any further questions for Principal Smith? Okay. Item 11C, financial update.
Well, it's my pleasure to officially introduce our new business manager, Ms. Amy Lake. And so
Show us the money.
Amy's with School Management Services, who we continue to have an agreement with. She intends to be in the district in person most weeks, 2 days a week. And then as needed remotely, she services 2 other districts as well. And so we're starting her right off with kind of an overview or just presentation of giving the financial update. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to kind of throw this in the packet, and I'll plan to do this every month, just to kind of give you an overview of what all of the funds look like at the end of the previous month. So I know the format's kind of, there's a lot. So the first row is kind of just a breakdown of your revenues. And this is, I should preface by this first page is all just general fund. So this is just all general operating. But yeah, the first row kind of is a breakdown of your revenues by source. You can kind of see how it's broken down by state, federal, property tax, and that kind of thing. And then we give you a comparison of for the last couple of years. And then we show you year-to-date versus the adopted budget. And that's one big project we're working on right now. Dale and I are working on the revised budget, so we're hoping to bring that to you in March. So we can get an update on the revised budget and see where things are at. So overall, at the end of January, revenues came in about 34%, and that's very typical this time of year. So everything is coming in as it should be on the revenue side, which is good. And then, so the middle and the bottom column, or row, excuse me, they're all the same data for expenditures. They're just broken down a little bit differently. So the one that says object series, it's all of your expenses broken down by area, what they are. So we've got salaries, benefits, purchase services, which is going to be all, big contracts, supplies, equipment, then other. And other is typically just like property insurance, workers' comp, that kind of thing. And then the row underneath that is the same data, but it's broken down by area within the district. So site administration is going to be your building administration. District administration is going to be superintendent's office and the board. Support services is going to be mainly the business office and technology. And then obviously regular instruction, extracurriculars, vocational, special ed, instructional support. It's going to be mainly media services and technology and staff development. And then people support is going to be mainly counseling, transportation. Transportation's a big chunk in people support. Facilities, and then just some other miscellaneous uses too. So looking at expenditures to date, we're at about, let's say, about 48%, which is also right on track as where we want to be at this point in the year, 7 months in. So that's a breakdown of page 1. Any questions about just the general? Okay. And then the second page is just an overview of all the other funds. So So you've got your revenue and expenditures for food service, community ed, construction, what's remaining of construction, debt service, and then student activities. So it's a much simpler format, but it kind of gives you an idea of how the money's coming in and how it's going out versus budget, so.
So what's our unassigned, or?
Unassigned, right at the end of June, it was at, what is it, 17?
Yeah, 15 to 17.
I think it was about
17,
17%.
yeah.
So very, very good.
At the end of June?
At the end of last June, yes. And then
Okay.
right now, we're working on the revised budget to forecast where we'll be at the end of this coming
Okay.
June. So obviously, the goal is to kind of maintain that as much as possible.
Any further questions?
Looks good.
Well, again, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
News from the classroom. Do we have,
Me,
are you
my
Education
spot
Minnesota
today.
tonight?
yeah, I'm
Oh.
it.
Okay,
I'm the secretary from the union, so I'm here to share with you.
great.
All right, hit it, Brittany. That was not it. There we go. This is from one of the well, all the classrooms at Discovery Preschool are doing a reading challenge. They read at home and they come back and report their reading. And so they're having a contest, and whoever is second there is winning. And that's the answer. And then this is early childhood family ed. If only the parent educators thought to take pictures of cute things like third graders with small children, but instead she has a photo of her badge that she gave to the helpers. But there are 13 third graders who were invited to provide childcare to the children who attended ECFE. I'm the parent educator. I was throwing myself under the bus for your benefit. He was looking at me like throwing the bone. So the big kids come down, they take their jobs very earnestly, and they play, share snack, and help the 0 to 5-year-old children for 45 minutes while the parents go upstairs with the parent educator and talk about how to be better at the hardest job there is. And the adult in charge happens to be in the maroon coat over there, has said that third graders are patient, enthusiastic, and very helpful, and may or may not have indicated that sometimes they exceed her in all ways, such as those. So it's proven to be a tricky thing to staff for ECFE Time to Connect because we don't know who's coming. And sometimes there's lots of small humans and sometimes there's very few. And so Katie is always there as the lead teacher. And then this third grade option has been really nice because they cost the same amount no matter how many of them we invite. So, and they're doing a great job. Nobody plays with a 2-year-old like a 9-year-old. It's really impressive. And then Mrs. Stump shared that they celebrated the 100th day of school by dressing like as if they were 100. And so Mrs. Stump nailed it, and other kids were frighteningly similar to dress of teachers in the building. That they think that looks like you're 100. So they did their best. AP Stats, I'm going to read the slide to you. Students explored the concepts of sampling, distributions, and confidence intervals in order to estimate the true proportion of orange candies in a sharing size bag of M&Ms, a tasty simulation. And I don't know what any of that means, so Godspeed to all of you. And then on Tuesday, February 8th, the math peer tutoring had a celebration and thanked their math peer tutors from first semester. Looked ahead to second semester, and they really are outstanding volunteers. Here is one that's been added since I last looked at the slideshow. So it's middle school and high school art, and they made a puzzle and some cartoon portraits. And let's see, advanced art, various projects. I can't tell what they are, but I'm sure they're cool. Really, the better spotlight on that would be to walk just a little bit down the hallway. Nicole and Holly do a really amazing job of displaying the artwork. And And then the high school had their dance last weekend, and everyone was happy to be able to do that. I saw lots of pictures on Facebook of very adorable young people.
What kind of numbers were there?
Steve?
We probably had 125 students.
Wow.
Yeah, there's lots of kids.
It was a very good turnout. If you look closely in the background in that picture on the left, you can see me dancing there.
Yeah. All the teachers were getting out there. Mr. Moulton and his wife were doing like doing dance in the middle of the crowd.
The
It was
cha-cha
awesome.
or?
The DJ was really good too.
Who was it?
I'm not sure.
Oh. And then this is FACS and FCCLA. And students in that class learned how to make royal icing and use decorator tips to make heart-shaped cookies. They made personalized Valentine's cards. I can personally attest to 7th graders in FACS making mug cake. And some of them brought it home for their families. Only their sisters rejected it quietly. Delicious. We also, at our early childhood PLC today, had some, what is it, Katie? FCCLA state-bound students who came to present to us on us as educators. 2 high school girls who are in FCCLA had a whole cool presentation on early childhood use of technology. And that was a really cool interaction to be able to have them show us and interact on a professional level. They did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, administrative reports, Principal Smith.
Yeah, nothing really further. I want to thank Caitlin and her student council officers for the work that they did, to bring back that dance, and it was a fun night, and it's just a reminder of how much closer we're getting to what school used to really be like, so it was a fun event, and I'll tell you, I think the commons area, the way, with the new commons, how we can decorate it and how easy it is to access, and the concession stand right there, and this group came in and, added some lighting to it. It looked great.
Yeah.
I think we are pretty fortunate, I think, to have a facility like that. I think we'll host many more dances there. So, thank you. You guys did a great job.
All right, moving on to Principal Kopp.
Some nice pictures you can peruse while we go through the report here. We are using our new gymnasium. We had the Kids Heart Challenge kickoff in there and used the new gym. That's the new teaching space for Mr. Eckern, and we hosted a full school assembly in there already. So it's wonderful to have that door there. I continue my learning. You may remember Clay Cook came to do PD for the whole district, and he was one of the keynote speakers at a professional conference. So continuing to support our educators is one of his themes. This was Lancer Way time, where we have cross grade level groups connecting with teachers. It's just a great time to gather each month. So FINE is a diversity consulting group that's doing inclusive and diversity-centered education. They're going to be with us on the 25th of this month for our next Lancer Way time, where we celebrate kindness. Also, we are in full court press recruiting kindergartners from all parts of the Cooley region, southeast Minnesota. A video will go out on Facebook to recruit kiddos to sign up and register. Friendly reminder, last year, and it's February, last year in April we had 42 signed up. In May we had 49 signed up. In June we had 57 signed up. We have 66 kindergartners learning in our building right now. So, don't ask me for preliminary numbers. We're working on recruiting. Thanks in advance.
That's awesome.
All right.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Eric? So Will we be getting updates from Steve and Josh as the middle school principal? Or are you?
For the rest of this year?
Right.
Yeah, it'll be one from the secondary, so Josh will give me that information. He just couldn't be here tonight.
Right.
So he's probably not going to be submitting a board report separate. It would just be in conjunction with, with the secondary report.
Okay.
Yes, we kept that more of the secondary than the elementary, but it would be a combination of Josh and Steve for that report.
Okay.
All right, Beth is not here, but I see her report is in the packet. Activities Director report.
Yeah, not a whole lot to report as I am trying to get all up to speed here. Winter sports are closing in on the end of their regular seasons and looking towards the start of section play. All that seeding should be done in the next couple weeks here. Looking forward to watching all of our teams and competitors go out and compete for a state tournament berth. And then spring sports sign up will be available February 28th. And then the spring coaches meeting will take place March 1st at 5 p.m. right here. And then I just want to say I'm really excited to be here and really looking forward to the new challenge.
We're glad you're here.
All right, so, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Big shoes to fill right here.
All right. Done
We,
deal. Thank you very much.
we do have a picture.
Yeah, let's get our picture.
So bring your certificate with you.
And then, Amy, can we get a picture with you and Araya?